So the federal government through Congress and now signed by the president has passed the CARES Act, which is essentially a $2 trillion stimulus package to help borrowers of student loans and many other aspects of the economy to have financial relief. So let's talk about student loans and the major impacts. There are essentially 5 different ways that the CARES Act impacts your student loans. First, there's been a suspension of federal student loan payments through September 30th, 2020. That means that you do not have to make any federal student loan payments between now and September 30th, 2020. The change is automatic. You don't need to contact your student loan servicer. But again, remember, it's just for federal student loans owned by the federal government. So what does that mean? It'll be your direct loans, for example, which most people have, but it won't include 2 types of loans. So FFEL loans, which were essentially issued by banks prior to 2010, and some Perkins loans as well, which are usually owned by colleges and universities. Second, there's been a full interest waiver on all of your federal student loans during this time period, again, through September 30th, 2020. That means your interest rate on your federal student loans has been set to 0%. It's just temporary. It'll set back after September 30th back to your original interest rate. But if you do choose to make student loan payments for your federal loans, and you can, it's not required that you suspend your student loans, you can make federal student loan payments at that 0% interest rate. And effectively what will happen is you will not make a lower payment. You'll make the same monthly payment you made before, but essentially the payment will be used to first pay off any interest that's accrued, and then it will go towards paying your principal balance. So it's actually a great time if you do have the financial resources, which many people don't, but if you do during this time period, you can actually make more progress on student loan repayment. The third change from the CARES Act is there's been a full halt of garnishment of wages, Social Security benefits, and tax refunds if your student loans are in default. This is for federal student loans. And again, default means you haven't paid your federal student loans in at least 270 days. So there's been a full stop through September 30th. At that time, it will resume again. So what does that mean? That means you do have essentially the next 5 to 6 months to improve your finances, perhaps get out of default, and just get some extra money together. The fourth change, employers, and this is not required, but it's optional. Employers can pay your student loans through the end of this year, December 31st, 2020, up to $5,250. And that payment for any employee will be tax-free. It's an optional provision, but it is another student loan benefit that can take place in the workplace. And finally, the last change, which has caused a lot of confusion. If you're enrolled in a student loan forgiveness program, so it may be the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, for example, that's a federal program for public servants and for those who work in nonprofits, or even an income-driven repayment plan where you can also get student loan forgiveness. If you decide to take advantage of the payment pause through September 30th and you don't make any federal student loan payments, the federal government will still count those payments as if you made them. So for example, public service loan forgiveness requires 120 monthly student loan payments. If you do not make your student loan payments, your federal student loan payments during this time period, you will still get credit. There's a lot of confusion around this, but rest assured in the CARES Act, you do get credit for it. Unfortunately, if you have private student loans, many of the benefits that are inside the CARES Act won't apply to you. So if you're struggling to pay your student loans right now, or you're not sure how things will apply to you during the coronavirus public health emergency, it's best to contact your lender or your student loan servicer and discuss potential options. And those are the 5 essential main changes. There are other financial reliefs and benefits, but those are the 5 you can focus on for now.